Hello there, how's it going? Hi. Hi, good evening. I am great. How are all of you? I hope you had your well-deserved rest for a little bit, and now we're all ready to get started with our ACE reading comprehension. Hi. Okay. Chalo, to let's get started without wasting any more time. Here we are. You know what the reading section looks like. अभी तक तो पूरा पेपर ही रट गया होगा कि कैसे क्या है, कहाँ क्या आना है. Approach we have discussed many times. A quick reminder, there's a passage question approach and a question passage approach. Passage question approach, I think, this is my personal opinion, works better for discursive passages, and question passage works for case based. But you can use whatever approach it is that suits your, first of all, time. It depends on how you're keeping time, and whatever you are more used to doing, there's really no approach that is better than the other. अगर आपके पास रीडिंग टाइम में फर्स्ट 15 मिनट्स में थोड़ा टाइम हो बचता है क्वेश्चन पेपर देखने के बाद, एंड गो ahead and read the passage. But if you want to save time, if you're running out of time, maybe you left section A for the end and you are running out of time, then you can do the QP approach. Both work, okay? Alright, so now the tips for you are, quickly scan the passage and try to find the main idea. So once you are done reading the passage, you need to be able to answer the question as to why this passage was written. Why का आंसर मिल जाना चाहिए. Okay? आदित्य, ये सब first 15 minutes में grammar भी कर सकते हो, but the first thing that you need to do is go through the entire question paper. Once you're done with that, use your time however you think you should. Okay? Then know your approach, जो भी कर रहे हो. Don't copy paste whenever you're writing an answer. Do not put it word to word. Of course, you can use 3 or 4 similar same words from the passage, but ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि वहाँ से literally cut किया और यहाँ पे paste कर दिया. Okay? And multiple choice में always read all the options before making your selection, because कुछ options बहुत ज़्यादा confusing होते हैं. They are very close. So you need to eliminate options. Make sure that the final selection that you're making is correct. Now let's get started with our question number 1. Here we go. Let's read it together. Power foods are foods that provide rich levels of nutrients like fiber, potassium, and minerals. With people becoming increasingly health conscious today, a lot of fitness trainers encourage their clients to include these foods in their daily diet to increase muscle development. There are various ways of incorporating power foods into your daily diet. Of course, the key to enjoying power foods is proper preparation of these foods, the use of seasoned fresh foods, and identifying your choice of flavor among power foods. Some of the recommended power food combinations are those that are prepared in our kitchens on a regular basis. Take for instance chickpeas and onions. This combination is a powerful source of iron which is required by the body to transport oxygen to its various parts. Iron deficiency can lead to anemia, fatigue, brain fog, and tiredness. A study by the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry says that sulfur compounds in onion and garlic help in the absorption of iron and zinc from chickpeas. The combination is a hit with teenagers who need to be diligent about getting iron in their diet. A quick way to prepare this power food is to make a chickpea salad with chopped onions, chaat masala, and cilantro. Another favorite combination with power food takers is yogurt and bananas. This makes for a perfect snack after a rough game of football. Exercising burns glucose and thus lowers blood sugar. Yogurt is packed with proteins that help preserve muscle mass, and bananas are packed with carbohydrates that help in refueling energy and preventing muscle soreness. A quick and easy recipe with bananas is a banana smoothie topped with cool yogurt. Among beverages, green tea is the best source of catechins or catechins that are effective in halting oxidative damage to cells. According to researchers at Purdue University, adding a dash of lemon juice to green tea makes the catechins even more easily absorbable by the body. So the next time you have a party with friends, instead of cold drinks, serve them a round of iced green tea with mint and lemon juice. Okay? Done? Now quickly tell me, Why was this passage written? Why was this passage written? This passage was written for quick absorption of food. What are you saying? Okay. To talk about or to give more information about power foods. So not just importance of food, it is specifically talking about power foods. The different kinds of power foods that people eat and the different effects they have on our body. Okay? Alright, that is the gist. You understood why this passage is written. Now let's answer some questions. I will also try to ask more questions along the way just to keep you on your toes. ठीक है? Power foods are foods that provide rich levels of nutrients. ये वाला part है. इसमें we go, okay, first go ahead and answer this question, then I'll ask you more questions. Okay? So, what are power foods? Very easy to answer. Should be done in 2 seconds. Foods that provide rich level of nutrients like fiber, potassium and minerals. Okay? Alright, now is there any word in this particular part of the passage that you don't understand? No? Okay, then let's quickly do an analogy type question, okay? So, fitness trainers is to clients what doctor is to, what can you put here? What can be the answer here? Very good. What a doctor is to patients. And I can change this with anything. What a teacher is to students. Okay, very good. So a client is just somebody who goes to a fitness trainer. Okay, now a person who, you need to pick out a word from this passage and fill in the blank. Okay, a person who saves is blank of their spending habits. Okay. Very good. You need to pick out a word from this passage. Yes, it would be conscious of their spending habits. Okay? Alright. Okay, next question. What is the key to enjoying power foods? Conscious means you care about. Health conscious matlab you care about your health. You're making efforts to take care of your health. So a person who saves takes an effort to take care of their money or their wealth. ठीक है, इसका आंसर बहुत easy था. It is D. What is the key to enjoying power foods? All of the above. Okay? Okay, what is the meaning of season fresh? What is the meaning of season fresh? That are available according to the seasons. Okay? Alright, very good. Now answer this question. No, it's no active passive voice in course, don't worry. Title mein kya mistake? Whenever you have an analytical paragraph, you will get the title from the whatever you have to analyze only, whatever graph or chart you're getting. Okay? Alright. Okay, let's try. Is there any word in this part that you did not understand? Any word over here that you did not understand? Yes, what is your doubt? Quickly ask me. Okay, diligent. So now if you did not understand the meaning of diligent, how are you going to guess it in the and cilantro? Okay, how are you going to guess it in the actual exam if you don't know the meaning? Okay, so what are we going to do is we're going to read what the rest of the passage is saying. The combination is a hit with teenagers who need to be diligent about getting iron in their diet. इससे क्या पता चलता है? That this has something to do with teenagers and that they need to get iron in their diet. So we can assume कि it is important for teenagers to get iron in their diet. So if it is important for them to get iron in their diet, they need to be careful and they need to be responsible about getting it in their diet. Okay? So diligent means when you do something responsibly. Okay? To make sure, if you study diligently, that means you are allocating enough time in your day to study and you're making sure that you're studying. Okay? So you can sort of guess कि diligent means doing something responsibly, taking it seriously. Okay, you can even say seriously. ठीक है? When it comes to cilantro, what else is written before cilantro in the sentence? A quick way to prepare this power food is to make a chickpea salad with chopped onions, chaat masala and cilantro. So it is obvious that cilantro is a food item. Correct? Yes, and cilantro actually is what you might otherwise know as coriander or dhania. ठीक है? Yes, so it's an ingredient. That's all you need to know. That it's an ingredient. Okay? Chickpeas. सफेद चना छोले बनते हैं जिनसे. That is chickpeas. ठीक है? Okay. अरे साई, why do you think I'm angry? I'm not angry at all. ऐसे क्यों बोल रहे हो? हाँ, सफेद चने. Incorporating means including. Including something in your diet means incorporating it. Okay? Alright, next. Write an answer for this. हाँ, but you have to write salad कैसे बनाना है. Chickpea salad. So just a quick recipe. So you can say a quick recipe to make chickpea with chickpea and onion would be to make a chickpea salad. Yeah, basically you just reword the last two lines and you can make it. But make sure to reword it. Don't keep it very similar. छोले भटूरे नहीं, भटूरे healthy कब से हो गए? You're supposed to make a healthy dish. Deep fried bhaturas are not healthy. ठीक है? Now let's try answering an analogy question. Okay? Iron is to chickpeas what blank is to onion. What would be the answer to this? गलती हो रहा है इसमें. Yes, the answer is sulfur. It is not zinc. Because what does it say? Sulfur compounds in onion and garlic help in the absorption of iron and zinc from chickpeas. तो chickpeas में क्या है? Iron और zinc. Onion and garlic में क्या है? Sulfur compounds. So, iron analogy question कैसे करेंगे? Iron is in chickpeas. So whatever this is should be in onion. और onions में क्या है? It's clearly stated over here. Onions में क्या है? Sulfur compounds. Okay? Got it? अभी आपको स्पेलिंग पैसेज में ही SUL FUR दिया हुआ है तो आप लिख दो, वरना SUL PHUR भी लिख सकते हो. ओके? ठीक है. All right. Now, I have a question for you. Instead of the chickpea salad, I make a dish called hummus, जिसके ingredients है chickpeas, okay, plus उसमें little bit of let's say lemon juice, okay, and उसमें मैं डाल दूंगी साथ में garlic. Is this also going to help my body absorb iron? Yes. I didn't want to say tahini because I thought you might not know what it is. तिल भी डलता है hummus में. Is it going to help my body absorb iron? Why no? Why yes? Why? Write an answer. Why will this also help my body absorb iron? No, I want a proper. Okay, so some of you are saying no, it will not help because onion is not there. And chickpeas and onion is a good combination. I'm asking you, according to the passage, will this also help my body absorb iron? The answer is yes. Because garlic also includes sulfur compounds that help the human body absorb the iron present in chickpeas. So yes, it will help my body absorb iron. Okay? Alright. Hummus is a type of, so it's eaten in a lot of Middle Eastern cuisines. It's like a paste of chickpeas, tahini, garlic, and it's usually eaten with something called pita bread. Okay, it's quite yummy and you should try it. It's quite healthy also. Okay, next. This is done. Why is yogurt and bananas an enriching power food? Yes, there's a complete mentee tomorrow. Yes. Why is yogurt? Yogurt and bananas is an enriching power food because yogurt is full of proteins that help preserve muscle mass. Bananas are packed with carbohydrates that help in refueling energy and preventing muscle soreness. Okay? So, bananas is to body what blank is to cars. Give me whatever possible answers you think. Yes. Muscles is to cars. What? But yeah, all your suggestions work. Very good. Fuel. It can be petrol. It can be gasoline. Very good. Perfect. ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है ना how analogies are made? Okay. Next question. Answer it. What is the advantage of combining green tea with lemon juice? क्या हो गया? I've told you, chalo, we'll do this. If you don't know the meaning of a specific word in a passage, तो क्या करना है? Nobody has given me the answer. Yes, combining green tea with lemon juice is that it helps the body absorb catechins more easily. If we were to compare the relationship between green tea and lemon juice with two other things in the passage. Yes. No, not yogurt and banana. It's chickpeas and onions. Yes, why? Why is it chickpeas and onions? Because just how combining lemon juice with green tea helps the absorption, makes catechins more easily absorbable. Similarly, combining onions with chickpeas makes the iron and zinc in chickpeas more easily absorbable. Yes. Okay? So if I say that the combination of green tea and lemon juice is a good because it enhances flavor. Only because it enhances flavor. Is that true or false? The combination of green tea and lemon juice is good because only because it enhances flavor. Yes, false. All right. Okay. Should not have shown you the answer over here. Which word in paragraph 4 is the antonym of continuing? Yes. Halting. गलती से दिखा दिया मैंने, but halting is your answer. वहाँ पे भी highlighted है. Yes. Halting means stopping. Okay, now I want you to make a sentence that uses halting like it is done over here. I need somebody to give me a sentence that uses halting just like it has been used in the passage. Yes, you have to make a sentence. It needs to be used exactly how it is used in the passage. Same form of the verb. Yes, brakes help in halting a vehicle. Well, that's nice that the seagull's mother halted where you're referencing a chapter of yours, but that's using halted. We want to use halting. Yes, eating a balanced diet is effective in halting diseases. Some sentences little grammatically inaccurate. Halting the cars at red lights help in prevention of accidents. Yes, very good. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we have question 2. Happiness is like the sun. It is often hidden by the clouds of thoughts, worries, and diseases. We have to scatter and dissolve them to experience happiness. You don't have to create happiness. All you have to do is calm your mind, because when there's a quiet mind and inner peace, there is happiness. Happiness is not something far away and unattainable. Happiness does not depend on circumstances, objects, or events. It is an inseparable part of our consciousness, of our essence, but hidden and covered from sight by our thoughts, desires, and worries. The mind is always in a constant race from one thought to another, from one worry to another. It constantly moves from one object or task to another, never standing still. This restlessness hides the happiness that is within you. It is like a choppy sea that hides the bottom. Only when the sea gets calm can you see the bottom. In the same way, when the mind gets quiet, you sense the happiness that is within you. You cannot see a treasure at the bottom of a stormy and muddy lake, although it is there. However, when the wind stops, the water becomes still and mud sinks, you can see the treasure. The treasure is there whether it's visible or not. So is happiness. It is always here, only hidden by thoughts, desires, and worries. You can experience more and more happiness in your life. Only your thoughts stand in your way of experiencing it. Next time you feel happy, stop for a moment and watch the state of your mind. You will be surprised to discover that it is calm and there are almost no thoughts in your mind. Since the mind is not accustomed to stay in this peaceful state for long, it soon becomes active again and the sense of happiness disappears. Okay? All right. What is common between happiness and the sun? Streetex, no, very small words will not be counted. You don't have to worry about them. Nobody is going to count your words word for word and say कि अरे इसने एक and ज़्यादा लिख दिया जिसकी वजह से word limit से ज़्यादा हो गया. What is common between happiness and the sun? Happiness is like the sun because it is often hidden behind the clouds of thoughts, worries, and desires. Only after the clouds of thoughts and worries can move away, can happiness shine on us like the light of the sun. Okay. What is this? What poetic device is being used here? Yes. Simile. What are the two things that are being compared? Happiness and sun. Two other things are being compared. What is the poetic device being used here? What is the poetic device being used in the second line? Yes. Because we are saying the thoughts, worries and desires are clouds. We are not saying they are like clouds. There is no personification. What person-like attributes have you given over here? Okay. Next, how can we enjoy moments of happiness in our life? No, Sarah, cattle is not treated like a collective noun. It's just another name for a group of certain animals. I mean, I know group of something is a collective noun, but in this case, like police, cattle is always plural. If you just write will you get marks? If you just write this much, will you get marks? Give me the full answer. You're going to write a proper sentence. Restlessness of our mind stands in the way of our happiness. It makes the mind disturbed, whereas happiness requires a calm mind and inner peace. Okay? Only when the mind is calm can it actually enjoy moments of happiness. Okay? Okay, now you will have a question regarding that, Miles. That's why I'm not answering. अच्छा, but spelling तो सही लिख लो सब. This is the spelling. ये क्यों लिख रहे हो? Okay, next. How does the restlessness of our mind come in the way of our happiness? And after you're done with this, another question for you. Yes, the correct answer for this is the restlessness of our mind comes in the way because the mind is constantly racing from one thought to another, runs from worry to worry, never standing still, hence keeping us from being happy. What is the answer over here? Yes. Okay. Now what if I was to write what will the answer be now? What will the answer be now? Yes. Now the answer becomes the opposite. Very good. Perfect. Alright, next question. How can we detect the treasure at the bottom of a stormy and muddy lake? Okay, I'll give you a harder analogy after you answer this question. Yes, so the wind needs to stop and water needs to be still in order for the treasure at the bottom in order to reach the treasure at the bottom of a stormy muddy lake. This is a metaphor to see the happiness within. Now the question is, wrong answer. Nobody has given me the correct answer yet. Except for Sunita. Yes, the answer here would be treasure. Kaise? How? Muddy lake और choppy seas में क्या relationship है? What is the relationship between muddy lake and choppy seas? Both of them are talking about what? Restlessness, thoughts, etc. है ना? Correct? Basically, they both metaphors or comparisons for things that keep us from being happy. Correct? So, sun and treasure, sun and this blank should have what relationship? Sun and this blank should have a relationship such that both are talking about happiness. So, what other thing is a metaphor for happiness that is being used here? Which other thing is being used as a metaphor for happiness in this passage? Correct, treasure. Alright? Treasure is khazana. Khazana is treasure. समझ में आया? Okay. Now, next question. The word blank in para 1 is a synonym of disperse. Which word here is the synonym of disperse? First of all, reduce. You're asking me, will they reduce marks? You spell reduce correctly first. But no, if you write a little bit over the word limit, nobody is going to take away your marks. Don't worry. Yes, very good. Scatter. We have to scatter and dissolve them to experience happiness. Okay? The word blank in para 1 means the same as seemingly always together. They won't cut marks for a few spelling mistakes. If you go overboard, if every other word is spelled incorrectly, then yes, marks will be cut. Okay. What is the answer here? Seemingly always together means not Separated means inseparable. Inseparable. Okay? Alright. The word hidden in para 2 is an antonym of, very easy, yes, D, visible. Which of the following words in para 3 is a synonym of habituated? Habituated का synonym क्या है from para 3? Yes, very good. Accustomed. Accustomed. Since the mind is not accustomed to stay in this peaceful state for long, or it's not, what does this mean? Accustomed, habituated means used to. Okay? Got it? Alright, now we'll do some case-based passages. Here's what you have to keep in mind for case-based factual passage. There will be real-life cases, not the author's opinion. There will be factual evidence. You might get some data. Here is a sample. Let's read it. Now this is an excerpt from Role of Community Radio in Disaster Management and Climate Change Communication. Okay? We just have 2 more passages to go. Arjun, yes, I mean, even the practice paper, the cooking one that we saw, or just about how cookbooks tell us about history, all of them, the reading level was not very difficult. Okay, the questions might be trickier, some of them can be tricky, but the reading level was pretty much the same. So you can expect a similar reading level, but you can expect trickier questions. I did give you some in the middle with some analogies and stuff like that, or being able to use a particular word in a different context in the same way. If you get synonym, antonym without referring to the paragraph, then you have to understand the meaning of the word. You cannot do that without understanding the meaning. So for example, if I go back and I tell you, give me a synonym of surprised. Then you'll have to know the meaning of surprise to be able to give me a synonym, right? Yes. Astonished. Awed. Shocked is mainly used for negative connotations. Bewildered. Amazed. All of these work. Okay. Yeah. Easily before 7 we'll conclude. Okay, now give me another analogy. This is from your passage only. And this is in reference to, I'll show you the part of the passage it's in reference to. Let's see here. So you can answer looking at this paragraph. Or instead of this, I can give you a better analogy. Can you think of a better word from the paragraph to answer this? It needs to be in this paragraph. Still haven't gotten. Yes, Vidisha has given it to me. Very good, Vidisha. Consciousness. Can you run a car without an engine? No, so they are inseparable. Correct? That's how they are implying that happiness is an inseparable part of our consciousness. It's in us all the time. ठीक है? हाँ, vocabulary से now let me see. What is the meaning of essence? What is the meaning of essence? Can someone tell me the meaning of essence? Okay, so the essence being used here, I'll give you 3 sentences. Tell me which one uses essence like it is used over here. Okay? अरे ये कैसे रेज हो गया? ओके Okay, I just made up 4 sentences. I need you to tell me which one of these uses essence like it is used in this sentence. Okay? On the spot, I made a question for you. Yes. The correct answer is this one. Okay, so the first one, the dish had an essence of cardamom. इसका मतलब इसमें थोड़ा सा cardamom का flavor था. So this is not the same meaning. In essence, I like the idea. I mean, I will say something like this when I say that, ठीक है, आपने the idea that you've given me, we need to work out some details, but in essence, essentially, I like the idea. Overall, I like the idea. So, this is not the same meaning. The perfume had a rosy essence. Again, same, it's talking about fragrance. Here it was talking about taste. Over here it is talking about smell. So, no. Kindness is the essence of humanity. So, kindness is the center, the very basic foundation of humanity. Okay? And over here, we are saying happiness is an inseparable part of our essence. Our essence means our very basic foundation. Okay, our core, yes, you can say core. So, this sentence is using it in the same way. Is type ka you can maybe get a vocabulary based question. Okay? Alright. Now we'll go to case based. If you want another analogy question, I will have to make one up. So, if you give me like 20 seconds, I will create a question. Let's see. It soon becomes... ठीक है, ऐसा करते हैं. I'll show you the questions for central idea how to find. Okay, I'll tell you. I'll show you the question for the case-based passage. As you solve the questions, I'll come up with more analogy questions in the case-based instead of spending time over here, because I literally have to create questions along the way. So okay, let's see. Here I can perhaps give you a question very quickly. ठीक है, I'll try to give you an antonym वाली analogy. ठीक है, I'll come back. I'll create an analogy till the time you are doing these questions. So why don't you go ahead, read this part of the paragraph. I hope your screen is visible to you. Read it, and then meanwhile I'll try to create more analogy questions for you. And once you're done reading, you give me a thumbs up, or you let me know in the chat, and I'll go to the next slide. ठीक है? Done? ठीक है. This is the graph. You can take a look at the operations of how many community radio stations are there, basically, how their numbers have increased over the years. Done? Prachi, even if cancelling the order letter comes, then you just have to cancel an order. Say I placed an order for so and so things. I don't require those anymore. As discussed, I mean, you can just make up anything that you have a cancellation policy. I would like to avail the cancellation policy and like a refund for my order, whatever. ठीक है, उसमें क्या मुश्किल है? Okay, we have taken a look at the graph. This is the rest of the passage. Again, after you're done reading it, give me a thumbs up so I know you've read it. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट। इसके बाद सिर्फ एक और पैसेज है, सो विल बी डन प्रीटी सून। इफ somebody is left behind, अगर मैं ज्यादा आगे चलेगी थोड़ा सा रिवाइंड करके देख लो, पढ़ लो, ठीक है। इफ यू वांट टू रीड पॉज कर सकते हो एंड देन कम बैक लाइव, ठीक है। देयर इज मोर, अभी पैसेज खत्म नहीं हुआ है। Red. Okay, next. Done? Last. This is the last part of the passage. After this, I'll give you few analogy questions. I have one analogy question regarding this. What is your doubt? किसमें points किसमें लिख? What points are you writing? For what? Himanya, could you tell me, give me an example of what it was? Okay. ठीक है, और अच्छा दिख नहीं रहा, रुको इधर लिखती हूँ। Yes. Very good. But community radio is to disaster. Okay. Now quickly answer these questions for me. How many stages are there in disaster management? How many stages are there in disaster management? Yes, 3 stages. Very good. Now the tough questions will come. Here we go. Comment on community radio significance for rural development with reference to line 1, 2, 3. Okay, here are lines 1, 2, 3. So how will you answer this? You will say community radio enables the local communities to speak about concerning issues. India and many other countries like Canada, America and Philippines use community radio for rural development. Okay. Number of CR stations have consistently increased after 2008. How does evidence from the graph support this statement? Okay. Number of CR stations have increased. What is the evidence from the graph? Quickly tell me looking at the graph. What is the evidence? Yeah, but you need to tell me what the evidence is. You need to give me numbers. In 2008, there were 41 CR stations. Okay. In 2019, the number increased to 276. So, in the span of 11 years, we know that we have added how many? 235 CR stations have been added. So now if we were to calculate how many CR stations were added every year, we can also find that out. So if 235 were added in total, then we divide that by 11. So that tells us that approximately how many were added every year? Yes, so you can say approximately 20 stations were added every year, because it's not the number of stations being added is not the same, so we just give an average of how many. So you don't have to do so much maths, but you can when the question is so easy. So you can write, in 2018 there were 41 radio stations operating in India. The number has increased to 276 with an average increase of 20 radio stations every year. This shows that number of community radio stations have consistently increased after 2008. Right? Easy. This is how you can give data in your answers. Next, why do you think the writer mentions that in pre-disaster stage, community radio can function as a tool of education for the local communities? So, pre-disaster stage mein disaster hasn't happened yet. So, it helps with preparing for the disaster, tells them what they need to do. This is where this is given about emergency plans, responses. So, using community radio information regarding emergency plan and responses can be communicated effectively. People can be warned against a foreseen disaster, and they can be informed about how to evacuate, where to take shelter, and how to apply first aid. Okay? So essentially spreading awareness. Very good. Okay. One of the prime advantages of community radio is the content is delivered in local language. Justify this statement. Why do you think it's important to deliver the content in a local language? Yeah, you will have MCQ questions also. But you can also have one-liners where you have to write stuff. So, because that is generally a little trickier. Now, think, instead of going to the answer, let's collect points. Give me few points why, at least 3 points you can give me why communicating in local languages. Yes, because these are rural areas. So, they might not know English. What else? The understanding is more clear, even if they know the language At the end of the day, if you want to understand, now I can give you, you want a synonym for a word, I can give you 5 synonyms in English, but अगर मैं एक बारी हिंदी में बोल दूँ तो आपको ऐसे समझ में आ जाता है. Those of you who speak Hindi, sometimes it helps that something is explained in a local language. Yes, and it could cater to a wider range or a wide range of people. It can also make people feel more relaxed because they're being spoken to in their own language. That's one point that I just saw here, which is a great point. Can make people feel calmer. Yes. Alright, so local language helps to connect people of rural areas. It enables easy understanding of how to respond and steps to take during occurrence of the disaster. Local language helps build, this is what you said, build familiarity. This is why they generally are calmer. Okay? And can curb miscommunication. This is a very important point. You can, I'm sure if we spent a few more minutes, you would have given me this. A lot of times, things are lost in translation. Lost in translation. What does that mean? I said something in one language, somebody else translated it to another language, but they translated something incorrectly. So that incorrect translation can lead to misinformation. Okay? So, curb miscommunication. What is the meaning of curb? Curb का मतलब बता दो जल्दी से. What is the difference between what and what? Curb is yes. Very good. Halt can also work as a synonym of curb, but stop, yes. Prevent or stop. Janvi, सारे phrasal verbs का I cannot tell you the difference right now, but you don't have to worry. आपको grammar में नहीं आ रहा है phrasal verbs. Why are you worried about phrasal verbs? All phrasal verbs have different meanings that are different from the individual words. Yes, misinterpretation is also valid. Very good, Kriti. Correct. Okay. How is post-disaster stage a very crucial phase for the usage of community radio? Here is it. Here it is giving you everything from the passage. Rehabilitation, counseling, updates, relief, aid, guidelines. What is the meaning of rehabilitation? What is the meaning of rehabilitation? Yes. It's providing a place to settle or stay for displaced people. And people can be displaced because of any kind of a natural disaster, sometimes due to war, could be anything. So you might have been following the news and know about the earthquake that hit Turkey and Syria. So you saw probably on the news how badly it affected so many people. Now, of course, once your house is destroyed, you need another place to stay and settle. So that process is called rehabilitation. So at post-disaster stage, community needs maximum support in rescue, relief and rehabilitation. Community, and it's like the 3 R's: rescue, relief, rehabilitation. Rescue हो गया बचाना, relief मतलब first aid or whatever medical attention is required, वो पहचाना, खाना वाना खिलाना, and rehabilitation is a longer process where you give them a space to settle down. Community radio functions as a tool of providing post-trauma counseling. Post-trauma counseling, updates and guidelines to the community. Okay? Okay, Himanya, I understand what you're saying. So sometimes when you understand the gist of the passage, for example, if I tell you that which of these applies to the passage, then I'll give you community radio, providing entertainment to rural areas. Community radio, a lifesaver in times of disaster. Community radio, a local radio for local people. Which one of these do you think makes most sense? Of course, it would be the second one, right? Community radio, a lifesaver in times of disaster. Correct? So you understand that if you're given certain titles or quotes, they need to apply to the entire passage and not just one part of the passage. If I say which one of this is more suitable for this entire passage, if I say CR, lifesaver for post disaster aid, or if I say CR, an important tool, which one of these is more applicable to our passage? Which one do you think is more applicable to our passage? See, this is where you're going wrong. If you say first one, then you're only talking about the post-disaster stage. But this passage is talking about community radio as an important tool for all stages of disaster, pre-disaster, during disaster and post-disaster, correct? है ना? तो अगर आप सिर्फ इसको choose करोगे, then it's just talking about one small part of the passage. Instead, our better option is this. CR, an important tool. Even if it doesn't mention why it's an important tool, at least it comprises the entire passage. Correct? So that's how you need to think when it comes to these questions. Alright. Rural areas can be largely benefited by community radio. Analyze this statement with reference to lines 18 to 22. Here are lines 18 to 22. The relevant part has been highlighted. So what can our answer be? Rural areas are mostly isolated at times of disaster when communication is largely disrupted. Radio has a power to organize information and connect these communities to the much needed aid and relief. Okay. So if you, for vocabulary based questions, again, like I told you, either you need to guess the meaning from the context, which we did with cilantro and diligent. Okay. Yes. So, which stage of disaster do you think community role can do the following thing? So if I was telling you warn कौन सी stage में करेंगे, pre-disaster, during disaster, post-disaster? Yes. Pre-disaster. It applies most to pre-disaster. Advice कौन सी stage में कर सकते हैं? All stages. Advice they can do in all stages, right? Guide सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सी stage में कर सकते हैं? सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सी stage में कर सकते हैं? Yes. सबसे ज़्यादा आपको गाइड करने की ज़रूरत कब पड़ेगी? During the disaster. काउंसिल सबसे ज़्यादा करने की ज़रूरत कब पड़ेगी? काउंसिल कब करोगे सबसे ज़्यादा? Which stage? Yes, post disaster. And enlighten कब करोगे? Enlighten means give knowledge about something. Which stage? Batao. Yeah. Pre-disaster is when you'll enlighten them about issues that can come up due to a disaster. ठीक है. Good, so you've understood. Perfect. Alright, here's our last passage. Do you want to read it together or do you want me to read it out loud? There's some difficult words here that you might not know the pronunciation of. Basically, when you're trying to pronounce these words, here, all the J's will be pronounced like Y. Okay? And all the X, H will be pronounced like J. ठीक है, जल्दी से रीड आउट कर लेते हैं. Mother Teresa, you all know about her. Mother Teresa was a humanitarian. This means she did things to help out other people. Her entire life was devoted to helping the poor, the sick, the needy, and the helpless. She was born in Uskup, Ottoman Empire on 26th August 1910. This city is now called Skopje. Her birth name was Agnes Gonja BYJU'S. Okay. Her father died when she was 8 and she was raised by her mother. She joined the Sisters of Loreto at the age of 18 to become a missionary in India. She first had to learn English, so she went to Ireland to learn English at the Loreto Abbey. A year later, she started her missionary work in Darjeeling, India. She learnt the local language Bengali and taught at the local school. She soon took her first vows as a nun and took the name Teresa. BYJU'S. Interesting. When she was 36 years old, she felt the call from God to help the poor and sick of India. She received some basic medical training and then set out to help the sick and the needy. This wasn't an easy task in 1948 India. She had very little support, and while trying to feed and help the poorest of the poor, she herself was constantly hungry and even had to beg for food. Soon other women joined her and she formed the Missionaries of Charity. Mother Teresa described the purpose of the Missionaries of Charity as an organization to take care of the hungry, the naked, the homeless, the crippled, the blind, the lepers, all those people who felt unwanted, unloved and uncared for throughout the society. It wasn't an easy task to build such an organization and to keep the focus on the poorest people. In 1979, Mother Teresa was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her work undertaken in helping people overcome poverty and distress, which also constitute a threat to peace. She was beatified in 2003, the first step on the path to sainthood within the Catholic Church. She worked almost up until her death in September 1997. Okay, I know I read it a little fast, but just get used to reading quickly. Okay. Chalo, first tell me, gist of the passage is very easy. Gist of the passage. It does sound French, but she was Albanian. Skopje is now part of North Macedonia. It's about the life and work of Mother Teresa. Okay? Perfect. So now Mother Teresa was called blank because her entire life was devoted to helping the poor, the sick, the needy and the helpless. This is easy, a humanitarian. I want you to tell me which of these options is the closest in meaning to humanitarian. Which of these options is closest in meaning to a humanitarian? Yes, a humanitarian is someone who works, who does something for humankind. And so, see, a sympathizer might sympathize, but doesn't mean that they do anything. A merciful person can be merciful, doesn't mean they do anything. But a philanthropist actually donates to charity, gives money, does something for poor people. So, the closest in meaning would be philanthropic. Okay? Next question. Mother Teresa was born in Uskub, now known as blank, on 26th August blank. Very easy. You just have to pick out the basic name and date from the passage. Answer is C. Which is a word in the above paragraph that is synonymous with comprise? Very good. Constitute. Now I'll give you a question. Which of these words which of these words would you say falls into the same category as unwanted, unloved, uncared? I'll give you another one. Okay, I'm getting two different answers here. Majority of you are getting confused between undeserving and underestimate. The correct answer is undeserving. Can somebody tell me why? Can somebody tell me why undeserving is the correct answer? Atharv, I'll explain what beatified is, don't worry. क्यों है undeserving correct answer? It's not because it's similar to unwanted, but because if you look at unloved, uncared and unwanted, you'll find un here makes these the antonyms of loved, cared and wanted. Loved का antonym क्या है? Unloved. Cared का opposite uncared. Wanted का opposite unwanted. ठीक है? Correct? So, if I look at these words over there, understood का opposite did not understand. Underestimate का overestimate. Unified का divided. Undeserving का opposite क्या है? Deserving. तो deserving में un लग जाए तो वो undeserving हो जाता है. So, un के लगने से जिन जिन के antonyms बन रहे, they will fall into the same category. ठीक है? Got it? All right. See, I'm just making up questions on the spot for all of you. Kanishk, yes, you can. Okay. Agnes Gonja Bohagio changed her name to Teresa when she blank as a nun. When did she change her name? To a much easier name to say. वरना सोचो आपको मदर एग्नेस गॉन्जिया बोहाजियो बोलना पड़ता. It's not that hard actually. Yes, this was when she took her vows as a nun. Okay? What hardships did she face when helping the poor? What kind of hardships? नहीं जीनियस निखिल पॉइंट्स में मत लिखना. Yes, so she herself had to go hungry a lot of times, had very little support and had to beg for food while trying to feed others. Okay? Why was Mother Teresa honored with the Nobel Peace Prize? Because of her work is a very vague statement. You have to be a little more specific than that. All right. The answer is Mother Teresa was honored with the Nobel Peace Prize for lifelong efforts to help people struggling with poverty and diseases. Okay. So you need to tell me the order of events for these three things. I'm just going to write MT for Mother Teresa. And NP for Nobel Prize. Okay. What happened first? You can tell me the order by giving me the 1, 2, 3 ka correct sequence. क्या हुआ पहले? First she won the Nobel Prize, then she passed away, then she was beatified. Very good. 213 कैसे आ रहा है? She was beatified in 2013. She died in September 1997. She won the Nobel Prize in 1979. तो all right. Now you don't really have to know. Okay. I'll give you another question, analogy. थोड़ा difficult बनाती हूँ इसको. Options are Quickly tell me इसमें से कौन सा होना चाहिए. No, please don't write answers in points यार. Please paragraph में ही लिखना. अच्छा, इसका आंसर क्या दे रहे हो सब मुझे? मिक्स्ड. ठीक है, अब समझो, इधर लिखा हुआ है she was beatified in 2013, the first step on the path to sainthood. So even if you don't know what it means to be beatified, what do you know about it? It's the first step to the path to sainthood. Okay, so it's just something that Catholics follow when there's a person who has done a lot for humanity and they want to be, you want to declare them a saint. There's a procedure that you have to go through. So before they can be declared a saint and the title of saint is appears before their name, they have to be beatified, which is after they die, the Catholic Church or the Pope confirms that this person has made it to heaven, and they also, basically that's a way of testifying that they were a really good human being, a very kind soul, and that they deserve sainthood. So first you are beatified, confirming that you have peacefully ascended to your other heavenly abode, and after that you can be declared a saint. So being beatified is the first step to the path of sainthood. So what is the first step to cooking? Can you serve before you cook? No. Can you eat before you cook? No, you cut vegetables, okay? All right. That was our very last question for today. Heavenly abode मतलब उनको स्वर्गवास मिल गया है. जो लोग मानते हैं that heaven और hell है, स्वर्ग और नर्क है, जिस धर्म में जो माना जाता है उस हिसाब से वो अच्छी जगह पे चले गए हैं, हेवन में चले गए. ठीक है, वन मोर चाहिए तो मुझे बनाना पड़ेगा क्वेश्चन. Okay, let's see. Which of these words can you use to describe Mother Teresa? Actually, forget this. Since you want to practice analogy questions, let's go back. Try one more next 5 minutes and then we'll call it a day, okay? ठीक है, let's see. So see, this might... I've already explained what beatified means. Wasn't an easy... Okay, I think I know what to ask you. Let's go back to the passage. I'll ask you the question there only. ठीक है, just to help you practice how to make these analogies, if I say what would you answer? लास्ट क्वेश्चन फॉर यू, फिर मैं आपके डाउट्स ले लेती हूँ जल्दी से. आइस हेटेड का सिंबल है नहीं, आइस है हेटेड का सिंबल. हेट इज ऑलवेज एसोसिएटेड विद कोल्ड थिंग्स. आइस इज द सिंबल फॉर हेट्रेड. फायर इज द सिंबल फॉर डिजायर. ओके. Let me see if I'm getting the answer that I want. Yes. One person has given me the answer that I was looking for. Very good. So, child क्या करता है? Why does a child go to school? To study. So, where did Mother Teresa go to, or to learn, you can say. So, where did Mother Teresa go to study or learn? Yes. Loreto Abbey. Okay, so now you understand. Nothing, analogy questions are not difficult. All you need to do is find the relationship between the first two things and accordingly figure out what needs to go into the blank. So you know the relationship between child and school. Now you know that whatever goes in the blank should have the same relationship with Mother Teresa as a school has with a child. Okay? All right. और ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिस करने की ज़रूरत है नहीं वैसे. You have done enough. सैम्पल पेपर का कर लिया, प्रैक्टिस पेपर का कर लिया, आज इधर कर लिया, अदरवाइज किया हुआ है. So don't stress out about reading comprehension. You know how to answer each type of questions. There's no real way of preparing for it except for just reading properly during the session. Okay? Avani, अगर आपको if you're taking too much time, then you definitely devote some time of your 15 minutes to read the passage. For sure. Because अगर आपको पढ़ने में ज़्यादा टाइम लग रहा है, if confusion होती है, then you want extra time to be able to read. Okay? So do that. Make sure you're allocating some 5 minutes from your 15 minutes to read the reading comprehension. Okay? Consonants are, see, it's just a device, poetic device, in which you basically have to ठीक है. This is vowel sounds. This is consonant sounds. Generally alliteration, you can say, I mean, see the difference जब वो आप when they ask you these questions will not be very stark. So never in a question will they ask you कि ये alliteration assonance है कि consonance है, because दुनिया भर में इनका distinction इतना ज़्यादा अच्छे से किसी ने किया नहीं हुआ है. Just remember, alliteration is a repeating sound in closely connected words. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sound specifically. Consonance is the repetition of consonant sound specifically. And these can happen anywhere in the word. Okay? Got it? Enjambment क्या है? When you have two lines of a poem and they can be one line but they have been broken down into two lines. Okay? Without any punctuation marks. There will be no punctuation marks. How to impress the examiner? ये तो examiner पे depend करता है. अलग लोग अलग चीज़ों से impress होते हैं. Ice is 1, 2. One, two, ice is 3, 5. ठीक है. Select the option that classifies the connotations for fire and ice as suggested in the poem. So see, here you don't, intelligent boy, you don't have to make sure that everything is, you just need to pick the option that classifies everything correctly. So instead of saying कि hate तो किसी में आ भी नहीं रहा है, जिसमें hate आएगा मैं वही choose करूँगा, you can always choose, so we'll eliminate which ones are wrong. So first one says fire is 3, 4 and ice is 1, 2 and 5. है ना? So 3, 4 क्या है? Indifference and hate. तो ये तो गलत ही हो गया. Second वाला is saying fire is 1 and 2, ice is 3 and 5. 1 and 2 क्या है? Rage and violence सही है. और 3 and 5 क्या है? Indifference and greed. ठीक है, हाँ, indifference and greed है. तो we can say B can be correct. Fire is 2, 5, ice is 1, 3, 4. Fire is 2 and 5 मतलब violence and greed, and ice is 1, 3, 4. Ice is not rage, that's a direct contradiction. So I would say that your second one is the correct answer. ठीक है? What else? Habituated means used to something. Used to something. और क्या है questions? Complete the paper faster पे बना दी है वीडियो, देख लेना वो. Alliteration is a repeating sound. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter, so Betty bought some better butter to make the bitter butter better. Repeat हो रहा है, that's alliteration. Can be consonants also. What is imperceptible fog? अरे क्या हुआ? चलो again. Imperceptible fog. Imperceptible means कि वो perceive नहीं हो पाई. मतलब sometimes you know you're in a room and somebody makes इतनी छोटी सी entrance and they're just lurking somewhere in the corner that you don't notice that they have come also. So they were imperceptible. So similarly fog आपको आते हुए नहीं नजर आएगी. You won't see it when it's appearing. But once it's there, all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, there's fog around me. That's why it's imperceptible, because you don't perceive it as it's coming. But once it's fully there is when you realize that there is fog around. Okay? Transferred epithet is nothing. Sometimes when you want to use an epithet, or let's just say an adjective for something, it always goes before the noun that it's describing, right? But in transferred epithet, it won't go before the noun that it's describing. A very basic example, a very common example of this is happy birthday. When it's your birthday, who should be happy? You should be happy, no? Correct? So we should say happy you on your birthday. But instead we are saying happy birthday. So it's not the birthday itself that is happy. It's you who are happy. But we are giving this epithet of happy to birthday. That's why it's a transferred epithet. You don't have to know it in so much detail. It's okay. जो एक example है custard the dragon में, उसको याद रखो बस. That's enough. ठीक है? ये इतने complicated intelligent boys, see sometimes the guides and keys give incorrect answers. जैसे आज एक answer जो competency based handbook में the answer was that ink, blink and mustard were sent the pirate or whatever, that was an incorrect answer. So sometimes that happens, right? Yes, sleepless night will be a transferred epithet because you are sleepless. The night is not sleepless. But instead, we are putting sleepless before the night. So correct, it's a transferred epithet. You don't have to worry about synecdoche, metonymy. Don't worry about all of this right now. Okay? Alright, now we stop worrying about all these complicated poetic devices. They are not important. SWOT आ भी जाता है तो like I told you, it's nothing complicated. ठीक है, it's just strengths, weakness, opportunity, threat. Custard cried for a nice safe cage because he was scared all the time. He didn't want to be around people. Maybe he was an introvert. That's just his personality. ठीक है, SWOT अगर आ भी जाता है, so see, SWOT will just give you an example of it'll give you notes, like some so and so character ने notes बनाए कि मुझे ये करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए, और उनके SWOT notes में strengths में ये लिखा होगा कि why that's a good decision, weakness में लिखा होगा why that's not a good decision, opportunities में लिखा होगा what are the benefits that they can get out of making this decision, threats में लिखा होगा what are the possible problems that can arise if they take this decision. Based on their SWOT notes, you just have to decide if that decision is worth taking or not. Yes, you should do this. No, you should not do this. If you're going with yes, you're going to focus on the left side. You're going to focus on the strengths and the opportunities. Okay? If you're going with no, you're going to focus on the weaknesses and the threats. You are also, if you're going with yes, you are going to make the weaknesses and threats seem invalid. Similarly, if you're going with no, you are going to try and make the strengths and opportunities seem invalid. That is how you approach a SWOT paragraph. That's all. ठीक है? अब poetic devices में, like I told you, basic poetic devices का आप session देख लो जाके. जो poetic device नहीं समझ आ रहा, just skip to that and answer that question. Okay? So tomorrow we have a full mega menti. ठीक है, go prepare for that, and I'm sure you're going to do a fantastic job. Poetic devices में whatever doubts you have, please go. Rosie, watch the poetic device videos. समझ में आ जाएगा anaphora क्या होता है. ठीक है? Important poetic devices have already been covered. All right, I will see you tomorrow. If after watching the session also you did not understand a specific poetic device, you ask me the doubt. I will clarify it. But if you haven't seen the session at all, then don't ask me the doubts, because that session will clarify everything for you. ठीक है? All right? Anaphora is explained in that also. Go to the poem which has anaphora. You will find it. You'll find the explanation there. If you don't find it, tomorrow I will tell you for sure. Okay? All right. Let's call it a day now. Do subscribe so you don't miss out on updates. I will see you tomorrow morning. Very excited to see you. Remember to eat properly, sleep properly, don't take stress. All right? I will see you. Bye-bye.